Jai Vamanadeva Kunja Bihari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jai Vamanadeva Kunja Bihari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Gopi Chandra Bala
Gopi Jadava Yivaradari Gopi Janavala Yivaradari Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Jai.
Prabhu, as the Russian is not there, so need the translation because already his time is up. It's already 8:05.
Maybe she just read.
8:07.
So we're today's appearance here is Lord Vamanadeva.
Translate.
You know, you're asking the time? 8:10.
So this is read without the translation. No reason to go So, this is I'm going to read from the Magna Guide, the old Magna Guide article. It's about the Lord Vamanadeva, the blessings, different lessons that were taught in that pastime. First section called the Power of Blessings. Bali became very grateful to Sukracharya and served him sincerely. Pleased with Bali, the Brahmanas of the Bhrigu dynasty had performed a great sacrifice called the Vishwajit Yajna, through which Bali received a celestial chariot, a powerful bow, 2 quivers, and armor. Prahlad offered Bali a celestial garland, and Sukracharya gave him a conch shell. Thus they blessed him to be victorious. By satisfying great souls, one receives profuse blessings and success in one's endeavors, and by dissatisfying them, one receives the opposite. Pleasing great souls is the easiest way to attain God's grace, which is certainly more powerful than God's wrath. By God's wrath, great planets, their rulers, and the entire universe can be destroyed. But by God's grace, even the most fallen person can be uplifted. The grace of God comes through his devotees. Compassionate devotees who are objects of Krishna's mercy are always ready to transmit that mercy to common people. But only some fortunate persons are willing to accept it.
Yes.
For example, the sun gives light to everyone, but only persons who expose themselves to the sunshine can take advantage of it, but not those who lock themselves in a dark room or a cave. Collecting blessings doesn't require expertise or diplomacy. It requires genuine humility, submissiveness, and a service attitude. Arrogance and pride never attract any blessings. Next section. Blessings are beyond the giver. Bali acknowledged the blessings of the Brahmanas by offering them obeisances and reverently circumambulating them. He also saluted Prahlad, who blessed him to attain all success. The blessing of the pure devotee, Prahlad, opened the door for Bali to attain the highest perfection. Equipped with all those blessings and with military paraphernalia, and accompanied by a great army of asuras, Bali attacked Hindu city to settle past dues. One might question, how could Prahlad bless Bali to conquer the Devas, when it is the Supreme Lord's arrangement for the Devas, for the arrangement that the Devas rule heaven? The answer is that Prahlad blessed Bali to ultimately get the shelter of the Supreme Lord, and Bali humbled himself to receive Prahlad Maharaj's blessing. And Bali Maharaj not conquered heaven, Lord Vamanadeva would have come to take everything from Bali, allowing him to completely surrender. So Prahlad was ultimately blessing Bali to go through whatever was needed to get the Lord's grace. The immediate result of Prahlad's blessing was that Bali would conquer heaven, but the ultimate result was that Bali would receive the gift of love for Vamanadeva. Blessings are beyond the giver, who can only be an instrument of God's grace. To be such an instrument is the most excellent way of living. When devotees sincerely do their best in their devotional service and thus access the grace of Krishna, Guru, and the Vaishnavas, a great spiritual power far beyond them manifests through them, and humbles sincere devotees. It does not make them proud. By blessing Bali, Prahlad humbly invoked the Supreme Lord's blessing on him. Prahlad was evolving which resulted in Krishna consciousness. Just like seeing Bali's splendor and confidence, Indra and Devas were surprised and approached their guru, Brihaspati. Brihaspati advised them, this is not Bali's power, but the power of the Brahmana's blessings. Brahmatageous. At present, no one can stand before Bali except the Supreme Lord. You all should now leave heaven and wait for the situation of the enemies to reverse. The blessings of the Brahmanas and Gurus are more powerful than one's own strength and independent efforts. Next section. God responds to sincere prayers. Hearing Brihaspati's words, the Devas left the heavenly kingdom in disguised forms. Bali entered heaven and brought it and all the planets below it under his control. He performed 100 awkward sacrifices to secure his position as the king of heaven. Aditi, the mother of some of the Devas, was pained by her son's predicament and wanted to regain the heavenly kingdom for them. On the advice of her husband, Ashapamuni, she performed a vow called Ayurveda, which entailed subsisting only on milk for 12 days while worshiping the Lord. In response, Lord Vishnu became pleased to appear as a Deity's son during the Vamanadeva, the fourth Brahmana. The Supreme Lord responds to the sincere prayers of his devotees. Vamanadeva certainly appeared in response to the deity's prayers and to fulfill her desire to regain heaven for her sons. However, more than that, Vamanadeva appeared in this world to bless Bali Maharaj in response to the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad had prayed for his grandson to get pure devotional service. Prahlad had formally prayed to Lord Srinivasa to show mercy on Prahlad's wicked father, Hiranyakashipu. And the Lord responded, if Hiranyakashipu was delivered, then why not Bali, who had many good qualities? The Lord manifested in these evil pastimes to simultaneously restore cosmic order, fulfill his devotees' desires, and give and experience pleasure. Next section, principles of satisfaction. Lord Vamanadeva eventually arrived at the site of Bali's sacrifice. Feeling blessed, Bali heartedly welcomed Vamanadeva and washed his divine lotus feet, the source of the holy Ganges river. Bali was spontaneously attracted to Vamanadeva and wished to offer him obeisances, but couldn't do so. Because Bali was in the position of the king of the Asuras, his offering obeisances to Vamanadeva with devotion wouldn't have been appreciated by the Asuras and Sukracharya. Hence, he was hesitant and fearful. Nevertheless, the Lord recognized Bali's sincere intent. Even though the devotee may not have been complete service to the Lord externally due to circumstances, the Lord is kind enough to accept the internal good of a devotee, and thus he is called Bhagavad Vahi, one who accepts the purpose. Bali Maharaj, he already at this point wanted to bow down and offer respectful obeisances to Lord Vamanadeva. king of the demons. So the demons would not be very much appreciated in doing so. So he didn't do it, but internally, yeah. Of course, what Vamanadeva did. Vamanadeva praised Bali and his dynasty and asked for 3 sets of land. Considering the Brahmana boy unintelligent and owing to his tender age, Bali told him to ask for as much as he might need to maintain himself for all time. Vamanadeva spoke of the principles of satisfaction, and he condemned the material greed. This is Vamanadeva speaking. Oh, my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the 3 worlds, to satisfy one's senses, do not satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled. If I were not satisfied with 3 pieces of land, then surely I would not be satisfied even with possessing one with 7 islands, consisting of 9 varshes. Even if I possess 1 island, I would hope to get others. One should be satisfied with whatever he achieves by the previous destiny, his previous destiny. For discontent can never bring happiness. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 19th chapter, verses 21, 22, 24. Going on. Satisfaction leads to liberation, while dissatisfaction leads to transmigration. If one doesn't have the internal fulfillment and experiencing the shelter of the Lord, that's access to hearing about, glorifying, and remembering Him, one hankers for the satisfaction of being praised by others. If we don't learn how to be content and peaceful, and don't try to find satisfaction in our internal relationship with God, then finding true satisfaction in any of our external endeavors is impossible. Satisfaction in bhakti depends on the purity of our intent. How to be without material motives, and the consistency of our attempts. Unconfused. So what Vamanadeva is saying, if I accept more than minimum that I need, then I will continue to want more and more and more. Then I'll never be satisfied. Even if I have the entire universe, he did it. Next section. Why and why not to give charity? Bali Maharaj smiled and told Vamanadeva, all right, take whatever you like. To confirm this promise, Bali then took us his water pot and poured water to seal the solemn oath to the call. So which are aware that Vamanadeva was deceiving Bali and would take everything from him, gave Bali 9 reasons why Bali should not give charity to Bali. Here are the 9 reasons. This, number 1, this boy is Vishnu and is appeared to fulfill the purpose of the Devas.
What did Vishnu?
2, your promise will bring great inauspiciousness to the Asuras. 3, for Vishnu will take away all your wealth and give it to Indra. 4, how will you live when he takes everything from you? 5, you can't even fulfill your promise as he will occupy everything in these 2 steps. 6, unable to fulfill your promise, you will have to reside in hell. 7, Charity that endangers one's livelihood is not praiseworthy. Materialistic life. 8. One has to provide one's wealth for religion, reputation, opulence, sense gratification, and family, not for charity and good.
Nonsense.
9. Take back your promise. One has to maintain one's body, even by untruth. So anyway, this is a lot of bad advice.
Yeah,
Not given by
that's right.
supercharge.
Yes. Not bad advice.
Materialistic advice. Healthcare. Supercharge was also concerned. Spiritual Baba mentioned in purport.
Yeah. What is maintenance?
The supercharge was also maintained by Baba Maharaj. So he's thinking, don't give away everything, because otherwise how do you maintain me, my family? That was a concern more than anything. So going on. Although it's difficult for even great philosophers to understand the Lord's plans, Supercharya could understand both the identity and the plan of Vamana. This is also part of the Lord's divine pastime. He allows Supercharya to understand his intentions. So the Supercharya advises the following not to give charity to the Lord, then to offer charity to Vamana. Then to offer charity to Vamana, all would have to disobey his guru. The appropriate action in this special case, and thus all his glory, devotion, tolerance, and surrender would be revealed to the entire universe. To glorify his devotees, the Lord performed wonderful pastimes like this. So, yes, Bhagavan, even though he was a spiritual master, told him so many reasons to not give his charity. Bhagavan actually knew this position, and so and he wanted to give charity to Vishnu. He didn't care. So Bhagavan, convinced in his truthfulness, and especially his devotion to Lord Vishnu, humbly makes Supercharya for 9 reasons why he must give charity to Bhagavan. So the 9 reasons not to, and then Bhagavan will give 9 reasons why he will.
Oh, that is so clear.
Number 1, I'm the grandson of the glorious Vamanadeva Maharaj. How can I withdraw my promise? 2, there's nothing more sinful than untruthfulness. 3, I don't fear hell, poverty, distress, or even death as much as I fear cheating and wrongdoing. 4, wealth is separated from us at the time of death. Why not please the Brahmana with that wealth? The teaching, Shiva, and many other great souls sacrifice even their own lives for the benefit of others. The teaching is donated the body, so drugs can be used for a weapon fighting demons. And Shiva
Gave his flesh.
gave his flesh to
Save
in exchange for a small bird. And later to give more and more flesh, just to protect one of the citizens from having a bird.
Indra's test.
So they gave even their lives and lives. 6, time destroys everything except one's reputation. 7, the chance to give charity to the Brahman is very rare. 8, becoming poverty-stricken by such charity is very auspicious. And 9, if it is Vishnu who has come here in the form of his Brahmana, I must carry out his order. You understand this Vishnu? He said, yes, if it is him, then I must follow. Supercharya said, this is Vishnu, so do not follow him. There's no problem with all the beings. Going on. If they grew in finding something against the desire of the Supreme Lord, there was no fault in disobeying his order. Still, Balaam disobedient, displeased, Sukracharya, cursed him to be deprived of his wealth. Magnanimous Balaam solemnly vowed to give to charity the precepts of land to Vamanadeva. No one can give anything to the Lord, for he is full in everything, and everything belongs to him. What we offer doesn't belong to us, nor does it enrich his objects. But such an offering brings one recognition as a devotee, which is an ornament for the soul. The God Maharaj offered charity of precepts to Vamanadeva. It's the same principle of spiritual mathematics. 1 plus 1 equals 1, 1 minus 1 equals 1.
Yes.
So, whatever you give to the Lord, you add something there, but you're not actually adding anything because he has everything. And then when you take from the Lord, you still have everything. So, 1 plus 1 and 1 minus 1 are all equal to 1, which is Krishna. Next section, humility is shown in humiliation. Vamanadeva then manifested his divine pastime, becoming Trivikram, one who took 3 great steps. He increased his size, and covered the entire earth with 1 step. All directions with his body, and the heavenly planets with his 2nd step. Trivikram then reduced to his original size and Vamanadeva. The Asuras tried to attack him, but Bali stopped them. Garuda, or Vishnu's bird carrier, manifested Bali with the ropes of the Deva Varuna Asha.
Varuna Pasha. Pasha.
Okay. The ropes of Varuna.
Varuna Pasha.
Bali accused Bali. Okay, being falsely proud of your wealth, or promising precepts of land, but without departing the entire universe by 2 steps. Where shall I put my 3rd step? Because you wouldn't fulfill your promise of charity, you should go to hell. Even though the Lord seemed to have mistreated Bali, and deliberately made him break his promise, Bali tolerated all the humiliation and spoke to the Lord with an undisturbed mind. O Lord, if you think my promise has become false, I shall rectify the situation. Place your 3rd lotus footstep on my head. I consider the most exalted punishment that which is given by you, the supreme well-wisher and benefactor, even of the Asuras. I don't feel ashamed or grieved to be arrested by you. Thus Bali offered himself to the Lord after having offered all his property. To show the entire universe Bali's tolerance, Muhammad humiliating it in this way. Generally wealthy persons are famous, and Bali will be famous for all time, having deprived of all his wealth. Tolerance and equanimity and humiliation are manifestations of true surrender. God's favor. Being profusely pleased, Vamanadeva then spoke about his own personal nature. I favor my devotee who is puffed up with material opulence, possessing high birth, youth, beauty, education, opulence, and wealth, one is not proud. If despite of, one is not proud, such a person is understood to be favored by many. Even if all this show off, and if you're not proud of it, then you're being favored by these people. False prestige and impudence, cause of material qualification, are impediments for spiritual advancement. The Lord protects devotees from illusion and pride by taking away opulence that made them proud. For Vamanadeva praised Bali's forbearance and truthfulness. Bali has surpassed the instrumental mountain of lion. He is fixed up in his vow. Truthfulness, despite being bereft of the riches, fallen from his position, defeated and arrested by his enemies, rebuked and deserted by his relatives, and cursed by his guru, is the Lord Vamadeva's teaching. He's glorified by Lord. In spite of everything, he's still acting in Christian consciousness. A pure devotee never deviates from the Lord's service, despite all difficulties and heaviness. Vamanadeva blessed Bali. You will become Indra during the reign of Savarna, the eighth monarch. Until then, you will live on the Sakala planet, which is more opulent than heaven. I shall be your doorkeeper, standing awake all the time to protect you from any attack. By my prowess, you will not adopt the demonic mentality, even in the association of the demons. The Lord offered himself to those devotees who offer themselves. The Lord offers himself to those devotees who offer themselves to him by mind, words, and actions. Bali was overwhelmed on hearing Vamanadeva and thank him. So Vamanadeva took away the entire universe with the Bali, but he gave him the best planet within the universe to enjoy. And blessed him with the Indra and come from Vamanadeva. Bali offered respect to the Lord and happily went to Sakala, along with other assurances. The Lord joined him, following the Lord's instruction. Although a pure devotee may appear to have gone to hell or heaven, he doesn't live in such a place. Rather, he always lives in the spiritual world, engaged in the Lord's service. Bali Maharaj was not a sovereign sinner, when he was perfect by following the prescribed principles of social life, but a kripa sinner, one who becomes perfect by the mercy of the devotees and the Lord. Lord Mahamaya mercifully took away Bali's opulence and gave him the opportunity to completely surrender himself. If the devotee is puffed up, making himself the proprietor of everything, and thus forgets bhakti, the Lord takes the opulence away. This is to protect the devotee from illusion and pride, and to show the special mercy of such a devotee. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 80th chapter, 8th verse. By the blessings and mercy of Prahlad Maharaj and the Supreme Lord, Bali attained love from the Lord. In this way, God became a keeper of his devotee who surrendered everything, including himself, to the Lord. And that's the article. Any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna.
Like you see that Siddhartha reserved Bali Maharaj, but he gave 9 years not to be carrying this. So, in today's day also you see that Prabhupada teaches that narrating what Bali Maharaj proposed to this certain tradition. But see, like, after Prabhupada passing, many spiritual gurus or devotees, they are guiding their followers not follow Prabhupada teaching. So, how can this be rectified? We are not so important as like we are important, and we follow the Lord. So, how this rectification can be brought into that? Means that the moment understand that Prabhupada's teachings are not his own, it is from the scriptures. As in many books, the strong enough to propagate his messages are that opposite to the movement was actually good. So, how this alignment can happen? Where the followers, they act like Bali Maharaj if it is required. So, Prabhupada teachings are nowhere on his own.
There's a deviation from the Srila thought. And of course, whatever Srila taught, he spoke in the previous Acharyas taught. He spoke in the Shastras, the previous the Guru Shastra himself. That's a Srila came. So if anyone has to change anything, never often, never successful. The deviation from the Srila Prabhupada taught. And to go right. Very prominent right now. There's no, many arguments against that philosophy. Still, there's a push it. And ultimately, it'll never completely take root, as they say, because we actually accept it. And it's not. I mean, it cannot. Because Srila didn't teach it, the scripture didn't teach it. There's no basis of it. So any other deviations that there are in the spiritual life, any deviations but ultimately, you can try to argue against it, but ultimately, Krishna will not allow us to go through. In the end.
No wisdom. That's why I'm saying retreats are one of them. Within the devotees following parampara also, there are so many deviations nowadays. Every year some new deviation we are seeing. So that I'm talking about. They are not following Prabhupada.
Well, each then show which specific deviation you're thinking, but each deviation ultimately, when you're sincere, you can go back and prove that those deviations are actually deviations. They're deviations based on the Shastra, based on the previous acharyas, based on what we're talking about. And actually, a lot of these deviations come as a result of the seeking in impersonalism everywhere. Which is why when we say our prayer to show Prabhupada came specifically to bring the world tendency to personalism and avoidance. So the rhythmic idea and so many other deviations are there because are there. It's an attempt to personalism to come in, or it is coming in, but often it cannot be supported because there's no scriptural, real scriptural basis for it. Which is not reading this book on the 100 deviations of rhythmic. Against the rhythmic idea.
No. Oh, you're reading it?
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
Very good arguments.
Ritvigvada Shakadoshini. Yes.
Yeah, it's very, it's a well-written book. And based on those arguments, and some to come with so many ideas related to that, it's all covered. So, many other actual deviations we can those who are knowledgeable and scholarly can go back and give actual explanations why those deviations are actual deviations. That's the point. So many ideas that come up, but they actually be ultimately supported. The rhythmic idea that you trying to follow is there, but you try to break it down as to what the actual authority behind it is. There is no authority for the idea. There really isn't. And there's a lot of authority against it. Because Srila didn't told us not to do it that way. The scripture told us not to. And it also says that it sees men, and this is a sign of impersonalism. Impersonalism. It's hard to respond specifically to specific.
No, my question is like see, outside, retreats are outside of our temple. Isn't it? Means only. Right from the moment they were separated themselves. But the point is, deviations that are formed inside, they become part of the society, slowly. Just example, if somebody brought this deviation of worshipping Ganesh, slowly after maybe 5 years or 10 years, we may see every ISKCON temple doing that. So that devotion has become, like it's accepted. It has become accepted. So how we can curb this? So outside rituals, we are always we don't have an in wavelength with them. But inside us, what we do, there are so many deviations people are coming up with.
Yes, and it's the same point. These deviations, the only way to fight against it is with actual knowledge. And knowledge is based on what the Prophet said, what the Buddha Acharya said, and what the Shastra said. So people can do anything, and you see things like that, and ultimately, there's the knowledge of the philosophy, you can also argue against it. Not just, this is what I think, this is what the harm for us. I mean, anyone can say anything about anything, but the ultimately support it. You have no real strong basis to go against it. I think it's for us to challenge the deviations we can based on there's the challenge of the deviations. We can only do it
Okay.
But one more point which I wanted to say is that English is determined. But there are many devotees seeing the positive things happening. Many positive things. I mean, it's not saying positive about so many people trying to preach it with that, so many people are becoming devotees, so many temples are devotees, so many people are devotees. So there are many things going on in the movement, very much which are very much uplifting for many people, very inspiring. But having seen the one side, the other side is that there are some devotees, they don't want to accept peace is coming, mediated from so many things. There are declarations who mentioned one. But what my whole point was that they don't want to discuss their deviations. It's like an offense because when you discuss there is deviation, that means there is a person or a Vaishnava involved in the backside of that particular whatever is happening. You take anything but that. I don't want to discuss each and every this is how this is. Not important number. But the whole thing is that devotees are so intimidating, they're so frightened by the thought that if I say that such and such particular thing, if I say this, for example, what do I say? For example, we should take prasad. Like, we should not take food which is cooked by the not do as simple as that. But if you bring a point, then everybody will accept it. But then you say, why this is happening, why this is happening, why this is happening, and you say, then they will be like that. For example, you will say, we need to speak very hodgepodge kind of lectures, jokes and all. We wouldn't catch it. But you say, that particular das, why is he speaking like this? Then there is a pin drop silence and nobody will answer. So one is that in general, principally, out of these in his books, in his lectures, these are the series of evidences from books and then lectures and then letters and then memories of the This is the way we see the purpose, anything, see what is the stand. Because as an Islam, as a member of Islam, movement, and going out, but everything Prabhupada has spoken and in Shastra, and we have a particular standpoint for everything. You take day, and you take whatever civilization, science technology, you take anything, you take food, you take technology, you take anything, book printing, everything proper is given certain guidance for everything. And there is a stand for us, whether we should accept this, whether we accept this. But devotees don't want to take that stand. That is the problem going on. Because by taking stands, you will be minded. Because the straight things, as Chandra says, the straight things are cut more than the creepers. The trees which go straight, which grow straight, they are first cut than the creepers. So they don't want to be straight on second things. Yes, this is wrong. They don't want to be straight. They don't want to be. They don't want to be, fixed on something. They will beat round the bush. If you directly ask questions to the leaders, they will all beat round the bush. That is more going on then they will say, why don't you see the possibility? For example, I want to go that second temple has second farm or second temple has made, why they have done this kind of future. Then they say, why don't you see the positive things happening? Why you want this? Why you want this is going on, that is going on? So that is what is happening.
Yeah. Okay, so that's going on. But like when you're getting into discussions between those who's right and who's wrong, and they say, argue against the argument.
Kill something is that. Kill the something is that.
Yeah. Don't kill the messenger. Don't kill the. No. Everyone the exact same. But basically, the idea is to talk about the philosophical why things are or not correct based on the part of the rock. Don't concentrate on who is the cause of it.
Yes. Okay. Hate the sin, not the sinner.
That's the same idea. Yeah, same thing. There's other ways to describe it. So some of those requires being knowledgeable or Christian consciousness, but some of those have to sit down and on the basis of scripture, based on the karma of rock, society, what is correct and what is incorrect. Again, this is the rhythmic way. So statements are made, and you should follow, but you actually study the scripture without you going into so much prejudice, and all the problems, all these things. You can philosophically discuss the actual principles of the basic of scripture, the basic of power of love. That's the only way. And not everyone has a discussion, not everyone listens to it, but at least the truth has to be
Present.
But then just like for example, in years past, every year on Vamanadeva, every temple will show you how to sing for years. And she'll probably make it very clear in one of the I saw. She'll probably say, never show Vamanadeva. Vamanadeva should never be shown. But in spite of that, Vamanadeva, all people in the congregation receive a good argument for me, and every temple will be moving out or everywhere else. It was done. And you would try to hear it or not hear it. The argument was right because no, you're not. Because we were still about said. So, but in due course of time, philosophically speaking, based on what Srila said, Srila corrected it. Otherwise, then little as it was, no, not this year. I don't know, I didn't really read that basically didn't see it. And also, for everybody not, so I don't see it, I'm not see it. So, you know, that's Srila said, very specifically, so the same way, the deviation, the fix of the deviation, but that's why you have scholarly studies and basically group shots, obeying, right papers, and scriptures, so support the acting certain way based on the group shots inside. That's what it comes. And that's the way. That's not going to happen immediately. But at least we have the books. We have books here. Lectures to Republic, letters to Republic. We have some more philosophical basis. The teachings that Srila gave, the teachings of the Shastra, are there and are more easily distributed everywhere in the world. Printing books. There's so much more we have than previous times, previous religions, previous acharyas. The deviation can be there. Now the whole world has access to this knowledge. And some developers will take it seriously and study philosophy. Will find the answers based on the Guru Shastra inside and find the answers to all the different points. So back to we identified 13 deviations of the opposite of the diet. Probably what they want now. Based on scripture, identify. But not even if these things go on, you still find proper support to say that these deviations are actually deviations. You never follow that. Group Shastra, the knowledge is there to support this. So, Srila Prabhupada ki
जय श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय वामनदेव अविर्भाव महामहोत्सव की जय धर्म प्रभु की जय।